Welcome to the Downtown Dogs. I'm Jimmy Rogers. That guy's Jeffrey Lancaster, editor, videographer, and director. This guy over here threw for 76,888 total yards, college and NFL combined.
Wow.
He won 5 straight Grey Cups. Did you win all 5?
All 5.
My Lord. First black quarterback to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. First undrafted quarterback to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. First player to be inducted in the NFL and the Canadian Hall of Fame. Most importantly to me, he allowed me and my teammates to thrive and to get into the Washington Hall of Fame ourselves. Thank you very much for that. Without further ado, I give you Warren Moon. How you doing, Warren?
I'm great, Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're 64 years old.
Yes, I am.
Good health.
Did you have to remind everybody?
Well, it's a compliment, actually.
No, it's not. It's called senior citizen.
How's your health?
I feel great. I really do. I try to eat well, even though I love to eat. You know, I love to eat good food. I travel a lot, so I eat in a lot of good restaurants. But when I get back home, I get into my regimen. You know, I get to the gym. I make sure I'm eating right and clean throughout the week because I know when I get out on the road, I'm not going to make those same good choices. So I feel really good. I try and keep up with my medical checkups every year. I've got a little, arthritis problem in my neck area that I go to a chiropractor for, and it keeps that under control. So I'm really good. I'm not limited in anything that I have to do. I have a 14-year-old son that's a high school football player, and he's a wide receiver. So I throw him a lot of passes, and I'm still able to do that. But my legs just don't move the way they used to. So that kind of stops you from playing the game.
Any replacements, hips, knees?
No, I haven't had any surgeries since probably 1985, I think it was. Wow. I had a little cleaning out of the knee when I was first getting into the NFL, but other than that, I haven't had anything.
That's remarkable. Yeah. 23 years in college.
23 years, a lot of good hits, a lot of good contact I've taken, but the good Lord has really watched over me well, and I've tried to take good care of my body.
He certainly has, especially with the hitting that we experienced.
Yeah,
compared to
it wasn't
today.
Like today.
Yeah, definitely.
These guys play tag out there.
One silly question: the last name Moon, where does that come from?
Comes from my dad.
Okay. I told you it was a silly question.
As far as the origin and all that, I've never really looked into the whole origin of it, but I know a lot of Korean people think I'm related to them. Whenever they hear my name, they get too excited about it, but I'm like, I don't think I have any Korean in my blood, but I haven't really looked at that part of my lineage, but I know a lot about my mother's side, and I have a ton of relatives back in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Okay.
And I just got back from a family reunion about a month ago.
How many people?
It was about 130. And that wasn't even the full family. This was like, we just came up with this kind of mini reunion maybe a month and a half before. So that's how many people were able to get together. Others were on vacation and doing stuff that they weren't able to be there. But we had a really good gathering. It was a lot of fun.
Your tribe, meaning your siblings,
yeah,
and their kids, and probably some grandparents, including yourself, that's got to be over 100. I mean, right there.
Yeah, I've got 6 sisters, and so I come from a big family. It's just me as the only boy, but I do have 6 sisters, and we've all had kids. So yeah, there's a lot of offspring there. Yeah. I have 8 grandkids now.
Wow!
Just from my offspring.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, with all the accolades I just read off, and you're a father and a grandfather. Yeah. I was going to say, what are you most proud of? And I want to keep that to a sports question.
I think I'm most proud of being a father. Okay. I grew up basically without a father. My dad died when I was 7 years old, so I didn't have that mother-father relationship all of my life. I didn't have a dad to lean on as far as when I got involved in sports and things like that. My mom kind of pushed me into sports. Just to keep me around other boys and to keep me around, male mentors, because I didn't have a dad around. So that's how I really got involved in sports. But I was always around a house with a lot of women, so I learned to do what women did. I learned how to cook, I learned how to sew, I learned how to iron. I could really take care of myself really well when I lived on my own, whether it was coming to college at the University of Washington or when I played in Canada. I was up there a lot of those years by myself. But don't ask me to do anything under the hood of a car or anything mechanical like that, because
Laundry?
I wasn't well versed. I do a great job with laundry. Love folding clothes, and that's kind of what I do when I'm watching a sports program. I'm doing my laundry at the same time.
Now, is that what they call a Metro Mail? Because I've
You
been
can
called
call it-
Metro Mail by this guy over here.
You can call it whatever you want, but I am it. You know,
You're it.
But
What about my girlfriend called me Cinderfella? And I'm not. Does that cross the line, or is that a little bit further down the line?
She might be messing with you.
She might be
talking about
okay.
that.
Yeah, that could be. So, if you don't mind coming backwards a bit to our current Husky situation, I kind of want to get this addressed right away.
Yeah.
Jimmy Lake's had 5 games as a Husky head coach,
I know.
and everybody wants to fire him.
Right.
We're dead man walking, I heard from one of my friends this morning at Michigan. Personally, I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts that go into this, but my primary thought is, my God, this is 1977. Do they have the horses? Do they have the coaches at the 77 team? But can you address the situation? Maybe tell us, does this sound familiar to you, what's happening?
Well, my first year coming in here was John James's first year, so Jimmy at least was here last year, and he had a team that should have played in the Pac-12 championship last year. They just had the COVID problem, so our friends down the road, Oregon, got to take our place, which I hated. But he had a good football team last year. Now we come into this year. I didn't see the game on Saturday, but I heard about it, and we just turned the football over too many times. And that's something that you can't do, especially against a team that's coming in here fired up in the first game. And it's hard to figure out a lot of what you're going to have in your first game until you get out there and play it, because you really don't know what you have until you go out there and play the game, even though you go through your scrimmages and things you do in practice. But the way teams practice now anymore, you don't really know what you have, because they don't go out there and really bang each other like we used to bang each other and get it real physical. So that's your first real hitting when you get into that first game like that, and we just didn't bring it. So I think this is a team that's going to bring it better the next game, and I think Jimmy will get that out of them the next game. And they can't turn the ball over, especially on the road.
And it looked like Montana had been hitting before that game.
Yeah.
Those guys, that was their Super Bowl.
They came to play. That's their
Yeah.
big game on their schedule, and you could tell that they came in here ready. And if we would have hit them in the mouth early, it probably would have been different, but we didn't, and we gave them a chance. And the longer you keep an underdog in a ball game, the tougher it's going to be to put them away.
And so would you agree with my thoughts? You come in with a conservative game plan. You don't want to show anything. All the lights and pomp and circumstances. I saw the guys get off the bus and do the walk, and it was like, and they're kissing their mothers and their girlfriends. I'm like, do you remember 48 hours? Did you guys have 48 hours back with Don? 48 hours before the game, we had a meeting on Thursdays at 12:30. And room 101, I think.
That's when it got serious. Now that's when Don gave his talk, and that's when you really got in football mode. It wasn't all this kissing and hugging and stuff when we played. It was the bus pulled right up to the locker room. We got in and went right inside the locker room. So
exactly,
it was all about business.
Right. So if you were caught singing, laughing, talking out loud,
did not go over well.
Chewing gum, and it was usually one of your teammates that jumped on you for it.
Didn't go over well with the Godfather.
Did not. Then we go to a hotel on Friday, and that kept us away from every activity on campus, which was a Friday night before a big game.
Right.
Could have been a lot of fun. I don't know.
It was not a lot of fun. It was serious attitude over in that hotel.
Right. I was referring to the Greek row parties on Friday. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of fun. We were in meetings Friday nights, Saturday mornings, and then it is literally 48 hours because all the game times were 12:30.
Right.
And then we'd come and go in the locker room, like you said. You wouldn't have a chance to see your parents.
You didn't really see people.
Your sisters.
You didn't see anybody.
You didn't see anybody. So in what year was it? 81. I was part of the team that went down to UCLA, and I was a rookie. And when we got to the airplane, off the airplane, on the bus to the hotel, I'll never forget Willie Roseborough's girlfriend came up crying and hugging him, and somebody else's girlfriend, and my sister lived there, so I was guilty too, but I felt the focus just leave the team.
Yeah.
I felt it. We're going back to LA. We got a lot of players from down there. They got a lot of family. It's almost better off for them to keep focus in Seattle. than it is for the rest of the team in
Right.
LA. But I just felt the focus. We went on to lose to UCLA 31-0.
Wow.
We were just flat.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to get that back.
Yeah, sometimes when you go on the road, especially somewhere like LA where you have a lot of players, a lot of family, and guys haven't seen their families probably since they left to come up to camp in July or whatever it is, August. They're excited, and it makes you lose your focus, though. You know, mom's bringing you food over, that she's home cooked at the house, all these different things that you shouldn't be doing before a football game. But it's human nature to want to be around your family and see everybody and say hello, and they want to see you just as well. But it does take your focus away from a very important game, and I'm sure that's what happened.
So these kids don't just have they get to see their family during the walk. They also have social media. It's a whole different animal. But
don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it. So back to your 1977 season, Warren, you guys were 1-3, and I've got 3 bullet points here. Don James in his pajamas fired a bus driver, went on to beat Oregon 54-0, and went on to be the Rose Bowl champions.
Yep.
So you were 1-3. Now, as we said earlier, the Huskies are 0-1, horrible loss. They're saying it's one of the worst losses in the history. Do they have the horses to go back to Michigan to focus, to regroup? You're not going to have your families there for the most part. You're not going to have your sisters there. You're not going to. The focus is going to be extremely intent. And then on top of that, here's one that people don't talk about very often. I thought Las Vegas would have had Michigan -14, and it's -5, 5.5. So basically what we're telling everybody right now is Las Vegas is usually right. There's a reason they have all those nice hotels and buildings down there.
They're not wrong a lot.
They're not wrong a lot, and they're saying that the Huskies are going to lose by 5 to 6 points.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take
I'm
that.
telling you, you and I might be the only.
Because now you're one play away from winning the football game with a block punt or just a big play, a big turnover. You score, game over.
Safe to say we need a block punt or a pick six or we need to go deep.
Well, you know what? The thing about losing a game like that early, a game that you're supposed to win, everybody's against you, you're getting ready to go on the road, playing another tough environment. That's where you start rallying the troops. That's where you circle those wagons and everybody becomes a little bit closer as a football team. And you're a little pissed off going back there as well. So I think this might be, I'm not saying I wish this upon them to lose their first game and go into this game 0-1, but I'm not looking at this as some detrimental, it's going to be some tragedy going back to Michigan. I think it's a good situation that they're going back there, and we'll see what this team is made of, their character. This is when you find the character of your football team when you're going through some adversity. How do you come out of that?
Absolutely. So in that 1977 season, I got to know Abner's wife, Donna,
Yep.
Donna Thomas,
Yep.
sweet lady. I got to know her while we were building the statue. And she said, you know, Jim, that when we were 1-3, Don was getting hate mail. And I don't think it was just during that 4-game span, but it was a lot of racial hate mail for starting you. And she said when they went on to win the Rose Bowl and then they had a big 5th quarter or whatever there was, whatever that party was for the alumni, Don had kept every hate letter and he handed it back to that person that wrote it. Said, "Oh, I got your letter."
Really?
Yeah, that came from Donna.
I love it. I love it.
Do you trust the source?
I love it.
You have to trust the source.
I love it.
So, Warren, talking about your NFL career, did Lee sign you to the Canadian Football League? Was he your agent at the time, Lee Steinberg?
Yes.
Did he sign you before the draft because he got word that you weren't going to get drafted, or did you go through the draft first and then go to Canada?
No, we signed because in the Canadian Football League they had to have an answer before the NFL draft, because their draft was early, their season started earlier, like 6 weeks earlier. So they needed to know whether I was going to come there or whether I was going to wait to the NFL draft, because that changed everything. The information that he was getting from NFL teams is that they were not probably going to draft me as a quarterback, that a lot of teams wanted to change me to a wide receiver or defensive back. There were a couple of teams that said they might take me at the end of the draft, and there was 12 rounds at that time. It wasn't just 7. So I wasn't looking at myself as a 10th, 11th, 12th round pick as a quarterback. Probably wouldn't have gotten a pretty fair opportunity to play the position. So I took the Canadian Football League opportunity because they were going to let me play quarterback. They were going to pay me really well. And I wanted to play that position, and I was assured of being able to play that position there. So that's part of the reason why I went there, as opposed to waiting on the NFL, which was my dream. You know, as a kid growing up, I wanted to be drafted one day and go into the NFL, and I felt like what I had done as a senior at the university. You know, I was Pac-8 Player of the Year. I was Rose Bowl MVP. I thought I at least deserved an opportunity to be drafted as a quarterback, show what I could do. If I wasn't good enough, cut me. I'm not good enough to play it. But to not get the opportunity, that's something I just couldn't swallow. So it was a little bittersweet signing to go to Canada, but it was an opportunity for me.
So at the same time I'm reading all this, I pretty much knew it, but I revisited it before the interview today, and I thought, man, if I was Warren, I would have been so pissed, and I would have had such a chip on my shoulder, and I would have been so angry at them. I mean, the Seahawks, let's just start with them.
Yeah.
Let's just use them as the entire NFL. They're in your backyard.
Right.
You know, you go play at the highest level. The Pac-8 back then was probably the best.
And I played in a bowl game called the Challenge Bowl at the time, where it was the best in the Pac-8 against the best in the Big Ten, and the Seahawks were our staff. So they got a chance to see me every day in practice. And Jerry Rome, who I became really good friends with in the NFL because he was on our staff in Minnesota when I played in Minnesota, and I learned a lot of good things from him. He said he wanted to sign me back then, but it wasn't under his control, you know. I forgot who the general manager was at that time. It might have been Mike McCormick or somebody like that, but
I think it was Mike McCormick, yeah. So to me, it's appalling, right?
yeah.
I mean, not one team drafts you. You go on to, set all the records, Hall of Fame, et cetera, et cetera. But the Seahawks specifically, okay, 76 was Zorn. I mean, if you and I were general manager, president of a professional football team, NFL team, and this goes back to grade school, who the best athlete in grade school is the quarterback. You put the best athlete at quarterback. Right. Junior high, you put the best athlete at quarterback. High school, quarterback, maybe running back.
Yeah.
Maybe a little safety on defense type of thing. So here you're playing, you're the best athlete on the team. You and I have a brand new franchise. We got first round pick. What's the number one position? It's got to be quarterback.
Right.
I know you need a defensive line. I know you need somebody to protect them, but you get that quarterback. So Seahawks have Zorn, that's fine. But the opportunity for them, and correct me if I'm wrong, is when they went from Zorn to Craig. Great guy, but led the NFL in soap dish passes. So they put their whole franchise on Dave Craig,
right.
Which I never understood their thought process. It kind of makes me think that the more we know, the older we get, the less we know.
Well, when I was coming out of Canada, Seattle was one of the places that I was going to come to play, and I really considered coming here because I lived here in the off season when I was in Canada. Of course, I had gone to school here, had great relationships here. So, and I loved Chuck Knox, who was the coach at that time. But Houston was putting together a much better financial package at the time. My head coach from Canada, Hugh Campbell, was the head coach now at the Houston Oilers.
That's right.
So that was something that was enticing to me as well. So it was a tough situation for me as far as the decision I had to make. But I had played 6 years up there. I didn't know how much longer my career was going to go. So I went with the best financial package that I could get for myself, not knowing how long my career would last, not knowing that I would play another 17 years in the National Football League.
Right. So what was your choice then? It was your choice between the Seahawks and Houston?
Yeah, that's what it came down to. And it was a tough choice because my wife really wanted to stay in Seattle at the time, but she also understood it was my decision to make as far as where I wanted to play football. So there was some tears that day when I made the decision to go to Houston, but there was some tears of joy because we were very, very rich now. But there was also some sadness because we were going to be leaving a lot of people that we loved. Did
you get put in the University of Washington Hall of Fame?
I did.
You did. Did you get a ring?
I think I did.
I think you did. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you did,
I never got a blanket.
You never got.
That was the thing that bothered me. I never got a blanket, and
not a Hall of Fame blanket.
I talked to different people about that. Know the Husky blankets. You know how when they have alumni. I mean, they have is it Alumni Weekend?
Yeah, a homecoming. Halftime
homecoming.
thing.
Yeah, where everybody comes out and everybody's got their blankets and that. I never got one of those.
Work on that, Jim.
Yeah, I already got the name and number for you. We're ready to go. So after, did Don James go to the ceremony, the Hall of Fame ceremony that night?
To mine at the
University of Washington.
Yes, he did.
And did he have words with you before?
Of course he did.
Can you share any of that with
No.
us? Cannot.
My words and my conversations with Don, I really love to keep, to myself, because we had some very, very interesting conversations, especially as you talked about 1977 or even before that, the year before, 76. We both dealt with a lot of different adversity, a lot of different hate. Mine's a little bit probably more than his, a little bit more personal. But the thing I loved about Don is he always told me that you were my guy, and I'm going to stick with you as long as you're the best player at this position on the football team. And you know how Don had his grading system. Every day you were graded on how you did in practice, and you could go up or you could go down in the depth. And I always graded out higher than the other quarterbacks. So he was going to always keep me there because he believed in his system.
Mm-hmm. In your first week on the University of Washington campus, your first week for the University of Washington football team, who impressed you the most athletically? An upperclassman, somebody in your class?
Who impressed me was Al Burleson. He was a captain, he was our weak safety. He wasn't the greatest overall athlete, but he had great instincts, So he was a guy that when you threw the ball in his area, you had to be very leery of him because he had good anticipation on balls in the air. He got great jumps on the balls in the air. So he was one guy that really impressed me just because of his football knowledge and his IQ.
When you came up for your weekend visit, your official visit,
Yeah.
Who were the players that hosted you?
Man, now you're really tested my memory. I think
That's
Craig Davalier. Do you remember him?
I do not.
He was a wide receiver.
So not a necessarily a fifth-year starter, captain,
No.
big name, right?
I was with my position coach, not position coach, the guy who was recruiting me, coach, Chick Harris, who was a defensive back coach, most of the time that I was on that weekend. And we were all over the place, But I did go to a dorm party. I think I did with somebody. I can't remember what player it was. But that didn't impress me because I wasn't a drinker or any of that type of stuff, and I just wanted to know about the football side. What was going to be my opportunity to play here?
And so the years to come, did you host any players on their weekend? And if so, any of them that you remember?
I definitely did. I hosted Marcus Allen. I didn't get him. Hosted Ronnie Lott. Didn't get him, of course. Hosted David Henderson. Remember David Henderson?
Sure.
He was going to come, but then he decided to go into baseball because they were going to pay him a bunch of money.
Second.
So, those are some of the guys that I hosted. But that was a way for us to make money on the weekend is to host guys because the coaches gave you money to take these guys out and have a good time. I'd take them to get a pizza and take them to a dorm party, and they were happy, and I pocketed the rest of the money.
Yeah, I remember it well.
That's how you legally did it back in those days.
I remember it well. Boy, those are a couple of great names to recruit.
Yeah.
I remember the story about Marcus Allen as a rookie for the Raiders, and he and 𝗬𝗪𝗪 got into it during a play.
Yeah.
And 𝗬𝗪𝗪 said, "I'm going to get you after practice." And he was ready to fight with Marcus, and Howie Long said, "I wouldn't do that, Lyle."
Yeah.
And he goes, "What are you talking about? It's a rookie running back."
Right.
He goes, "That's the toughest dude in Los Angeles right there. He will kick your ass."
Yeah. People forget Marcus played fullback and blocked for Charles White before he became a halfback and a Heisman Trophy winner. So he was a tough guy.
And I'm sure Ronnie Lott could have played running back too.
Oh, no question.
No doubt.
Those guys are really good friends of mine to this day.
Right. We're going to do some...
And we beat him a couple of times while I was here, so
Yeah.
they remember that too.
What was your favorite Husky memory? Whether it be a game or a moment or a play or...
Probably when I scored the kind of not the winning touchdown, but kind of really put us ahead in the ball game to stay in the USC game. I had like a 71-yard run at the end of the game, and we were just trying to run the clock out at that time. We're just trying to keep the ball in bounds, and somehow I ducked up underneath Clay Matthews, and the next thing you know, I got all this green in front of me, and I took off, and it was probably the slowest, longest run of my career.
Did you score?
I did score,
You did score.
71 yards out.
And one of our fans called in and said, "Now remind him of that play because he didn't have any downfield blocking."
I didn't.
Everybody pretty much took a knee
Exactly.
except for you.
Exactly. But when I scored that touchdown, everything that kind of went through me that I had gone through at the university, and everybody's chanting my name, Warren, Warren. I wanted to flip everybody the bird at that time, to tell you the truth. But it wasn't in me. I mean, I felt like that wouldn't be a class move.
I touched on that earlier because I called Gertrude after I was reading all your accolades and all the barriers that you broke down and the pioneer that you are for your position and for the sport. And I said, God, he's got to just be pissed at the world. And she goes, never says a negative thing, never puts anybody down, no chip. I mean,
you don't accomplish anything by that. I try to look at the positive of everything, and yeah, there was a lot of bitterness inside of me that I kept inside of me and probably shouldn't have kept inside of me, and ended up going through therapy later in my career to try and help me deal with some of that, because there were so many things that I went through that I never even shared with my family. I never shared with my mom, whether it was death threats or different things like that. I harbored it all inside of me, and I always wanted everybody to know that everything was all right, everything was cool, and I always tried to I guess portray myself as the coolest guy, on the field, the coolest guy in the room, that I was always under control, that everybody could always look at me for calm. Like you're playing this game where all these collisions are going on and all this physicalness is going on, and everybody's kind of out of control sometimes, but you can always look over at your quarterback and see that if he's okay, then everything else is going to be okay. And that's kind of the way I looked at it, and I looked at it the same way in my life. If there's all this stuff going on, whether it's tragedy in your family, whether it's death, whatever it might be, Warren, you can always come to Warren for calm and for advice and for somebody that's going to have a level head. So that's kind of how I always looked at myself as a leader, but I didn't deal with a lot of the internal stuff that I had to deal with, and there was nobody for me to go to deal with all that stuff. So I finally got to the point where I felt like I need somebody to help me deal with all this, and I did. I dealt with it.
it's like anything else, like physical therapy for a knee, for your shoulder, whatever.
Well, mental health. Everybody talks about that now. It's the big popular thing, but I had mental health back in 1997. I think I was dealing with that. So I'm glad I did it, and I would recommend it to anybody.
I also had some mental health, and I chose to self-medicate.
Did you?
And it didn't work.
Yeah, no.
I got up to 299.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Did you?
You probably didn't see me around Seattle for a good decade, did you? You don't want to be seen at 299.
299.
Hard to do. Not that
Well,
hard.
you should have just had one more Dick's hamburger and you could have been 300.
It was kind of fun. Part of it was fun, but the 299.
You should have hit 300 just to say it was 300. It sounds better.
What they call refrigerator biscuit. They say it's a biscuit away from 400.
Away from 400.
Do any of the current players, Russell Wilson, for example, thank you for breaking down all those barriers?
Yes, I've had many guys tell me that. And that's something that makes me feel good, because one of the things I'm most proud of my play was not, throwing touchdowns or whatever it might be, is being able to make a change in people who had the mindsets of what their mindset was when I was coming out, that we could play the position at a high level, that we are intelligent, that we are guys that can lead a football team, that we can make decisions in crucial situations, that we can be the face of a franchise. I mean, we can do all those things. And I think my play, along with, Doug Williams winning a Super Bowl for the first time, and Randall Cunningham, the way he played, we all kind of played in the same era of those 80s and early 90s. That kind of opened the doors and opened the eyes of all these owners and general managers. Hey, these guys can play. We need to give them more opportunities. And so that's something I'm really proud of, that I helped open that door and pave that way.
Name, image, likeness. Now, for starters, I think that image and likeness are almost the same thing. But they got to give three.
Of course,
They
got
to dress it up. Right?
NIL sounds better than just NL.
NL or NI.
That's National League.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't use that.
So NIL, I'm going to ask you an equilibrium question. So let's say you're a junior at the University of Washington and you're getting 1.2 in endorsements, 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And Lee tells you, you're eligible for the draft, Warren, but you're going to make the same money. So here you are at college campus, big fish, little pond. You can go to the NFL, bigger, faster, stronger, probably more injury prone due to the faster, stronger. You're going to get 1.2 million if you go to the NFL.
Right. I'm probably going to go to the NFL.
You're going to go. Why?
I don't have to go to school. I don't have to get up at 6 in the morning. These kids in college now, I don't know if Jimmy's doing it, but I know Coach Peterson had them up at 6 in the morning to go to practice. So they would have practice first, and then they went straight to their classes. The reason why you go to school is to put yourself in a position to make money for the rest of your life, right? I mean, there's other reasons why you go to school, socially, different things like that. But the main reason is to put yourself in a position to be able to support your family or to support your life going forward with a nice job through the education that you get. Or if you're an athlete, through a pro contract. So if you can get that pro contract and make that type of money, you can always go back to school and finish sometime along the way at your own pace. But you're making really good money, and you're accomplishing a goal that maybe you had for yourself was maybe to graduate, but then also play professional, whatever sport it is. So if you can do that first and do the other second, it doesn't really matter what order it's in as long as you're doing it.
Great answer. I'm going to do some name association, and you just say the first thing that comes to mind. And if you don't say anything, I'll just keep going.
Okay.
We've had a few of those. But as far as they're going back to school and versus not getting up at 6 a.m., the first name on the list is Gertrude Peoples.
Yes. Probably the most influential person and most caring person that I ever have met during my college career. I mean, she kept me sane during some very, very, very tough days for me at that university, and I think she was probably the second most powerful person in the athletic department. Besides Don James, she was next because she kept all these guys going. She kept them all motivated. She kept them up going to school. She was up on that campus begging for different guys to be able to get a good passing grade. She did whatever she needed to do to help guys move forward in their careers at the U. So I love her to death.
I do too, and she's helped thousands and thousands of young men get their college degrees.
Yes, she has.
Don James. I stuttered saying it.
I know. Again, probably the most influential male in my life, in my athletic life. The confidence that he had in me, the sacrifices that he made for me, and some of the bitterness that he probably had to deal with because of me is something that makes me respect him even more. But we all came out of it on the top, and I'll always love him for that.
Bob Rondo, who says hello, by the way.
Yeah, best broadcaster in Husky history, as far as I'm concerned, and just a great supporter of the Dogs.
Anthony Allen.
Anthony Allen, a great local prospect, a guy that never, I think, was able to live up to what his capabilities were. I thought he would be have a much bigger impact on the game of football. I know he got hurt early in his career, and that hurt him, but love Anthony.
Kurt Marsh?
Again, great football player. I got a chance to play with him. Unfortunate what happened to him with having the leg amputated and all that, so he was never able to fulfill what he could have done in the NFL over a long period of time.
Jock Robinson?
Jock Robinson, never really got to know him very well, but I know he was very, very talented. Rose Bowl MVP, a freshman I think he was, maybe a sophomore.
And Orange Bowl as a senior.
Yeah, and
unheard of.
Again, never became that great pro back, but had a tremendous college career.
Mike Lude?
Mike Lude, he was a guy that I really didn't understand as much in the beginning when he first came here as the athletic director, but I know him and Don had a history together, so if Don was in favor of him than I was, but have really gotten to know him, got to know him very, very well after I left, and then even to this day, I just wished him a happy 90th birthday on his last birthday.
The term "move the drill." Does that mean anything to you?
That means somebody's down, but we're not stopping for anybody. The ship keeps moving. I don't know if you've explained this to people what that means.
I have not.
Well, it's basically if somebody gets hurt on the football field, we're not going to stop everything because that person is hurt. We're going to move the drill up 15, 20 yards, let the training staff deal with that person who's hurt, but we're not going to stop what we're doing as far as our practice routine. And once we get into that routine, we're not moving or stopping for anybody.
So even though it's your best friend down there moaning and he's got a blown out knee,
Yeah.
and you want to console him, you want to help him, you got to keep practicing.
We got to keep practicing and
So
stay on schedule.
Do you think that lesson that you learned in college carried on in life?
There's no question. As long as you know that person is being well taken care of, there's nothing really I can do for him at that time, but maybe hold his hand for a minute and then but move on. The main thing is he's getting great care, and then we keep the train moving, and he'll be back eventually when he's ready.
What are you doing now, Warren, with your spare time? Are you sitting back fishing every day, sitting on the couch, watching TV?
I do a lot of fun things. I just got back from a music festival called 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗡 in Napa. I love wine and I love really good food, as I told you earlier. And this is a rock concert, but it also had a lot of different other genres of music. So I went to that for the weekend. But you know, I'm doing a lot of personal appearances. I'm doing memorabilia shows. I'm on a couple of different boards now that keep me really, really busy. I have my foundation still going, so we do different projects. So there's a lot I have going on. And then I have, like I said, my 5 kids. I have a son in high school that's playing high school football, so I'm on top of him and what's going on with him. And then I have 8 grandkids. So they're all in Houston, Texas, and I visit down there probably every month and a half, because there's always a birthday or a graduation or something going on that you have to be down there for. So my life is pretty full right now. It's really enjoyable, but I'm at that stage where I can kind of pick and choose what I want to do. I don't have to go into the office every day and do something or anything like that. It's pretty good.
You get to join the Downtown Dogs.
I get to join the Downtown Dogs and have nice parking right on the main street.
Jeffrey Lancaster. So Warren, we've lost a lot of friends recently, as we, that's natural as we get older, and
Yes.
a lot of CTE situations. Is there any advice that you'd like to pass on to the younger generations?
As far as,
Well, health, really.
yeah, I just say take care of yourself. I mean, do whatever it takes to keep yourself healthy. Whether it starts with your diet, it starts with how you hydrate your body, it starts with getting exercise. Because I see a lot of young people today that are obese and overweight. And when you're 22, 23, 24 years old or whatever, and you're already overweight, it's really nowhere for you to go but down, because the older you get, the harder it's going to get that weight off. So really take care of yourself early in your life, because you don't want to be on meds the rest of your life dealing with diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever it might be that happens from being obese. So you want to maintain those things early and get those things under control as early as you possibly can, so you can live a long healthy life. And the key is not long but healthy. There's a lot of people that live long, but they live long and they are suffering that whole time that they're living and just kind of waiting for that day that something tragic is going to happen. But you want to live a long, healthy life so you can enjoy your kids, you can do the things you want to do, you can be active, all those different things that go along with being in a healthy lifestyle. And if you don't take care of yourself early, these things won't happen for you later.
Now, if I were to ask you when you were 16 years old that your life was going to play out like this, you obviously would say, bring it, right? If I were to ask you the same question, well, what would you have said?
I would have never thought that I would have had to deal with what I've had to deal with. If you asked me at 16, if you told me all those things at 16, I'm going to say, are you kidding me? I'm going to what? I'm going to be called what? I'm going to be...
Not going to be drafted?
Well, yeah, all those different things. Somebody's going to try and kill me? What? Over a football game? You kidding me? Several times? No, I don't think I want to deal with that.
Okay, now if I ask you that question at 64...
What?
Well,
Right.
you're going to experience this life. At this point, would you say, no thanks, or would you say, bring it?
I'd say been there, done that.
Okay.
So I don't want to deal with it again.
Yeah. Well, that's a great answer. It is official, Warren Moon, you are a Downtown Dog.
Yes.
Thank you so
Another feather in my cap. I've got a lot of accolades, but golly, this is a big one because of the family that's involved with the Downtown Dogs.
No, thank you very much for being on the show. Did you have another sport in high school, baseball? Basketball?
I love basketball. It's my favorite sport, and if I would have been 6'5", I would have maybe played basketball instead of football.
Okay.
I was probably better in baseball than all of them, but it was just a little too slow for me.
What position?
Shortstop and left
too
field.
slow.
Yeah.
That's
And so football just became more of a challenge for me because of the position of quarterback and what it asks you to do. I think it's the most challenging position in sports.
Right-handed batter?
Right-handed batter.
Can we get a little tester? We've got a wiffle ball and bat. We've got just 2 seconds away.
Yeah, we can do that.